Hello, this is just a series that I want to make to show off a little bit of dogfighting so some of my less experienced friends can get better. So, in this clip, I'm flying the A7, I'm flying the Ta-152, and we've got an A7M. I'm slightly above this guy, and I was diving down, so I knew that I had a lot more speed, and so my first approach was to see if I could catch him in a classic energy trap. Even though the altitude advantage is not that much for me, and the A7M is of course quite good at low speed control, because I was actually diving down, my speed was probably going to be 200 odd kilometers an hour faster than him, and so I would be able to just keep my distance. However, he doesn't follow, he could be AFK, and at this point I see that he's starting to dive away, not AFK, I look to the side and I see a J2M. That A7M, not particularly problematic, J2M on its own, not particularly problematic, is also a Ki-44. Now, Ki-44 is notably not nearly 6.0 battle rating, but it is undoubtedly a capable aircraft, especially when it's combined with something like a J2M, and I think we'll see later a Ki-61 coming in as well. Anyways, I just want to see if I can quickly get someone out of the fight. I figure I can probably outrun a Ki-44 if needed, so I just go and look to make a pass on this J2M. I should have killed him here, but unfortunately I'm still getting used to the MK108s and the slow German rounds, and so I completely miss the shot like an idiot and go back up. So now Ki-44 is coming in. He has an energy advantage over me, which is very scary, especially when you're in something like a Ta-152, which is not the most maneuverable aircraft. Here he comes. He looks to merge in. I messed my shot up by going down, and I think about following him here, and I realize that he's just going to dive down on me and absolutely ruin my day, because of course it's Japanese, it turns pretty well, so I decide I'm just not going to burn my speed, I'm going to keep going. Now we are at quite a high altitude here, which is where my engine power starts to be pretty good, especially compared to some of the lower tier aircraft. Luckily the Ki-44 decides to pull off, so I can immediately start going back in, otherwise I'd have to play quite passive. We can see that I've also got a BF-109 up here, but he is the lowest of the four of us. You can see that Ki-61 in the distance is about to start making his way over. I think he just killed one of our friendly bombers. So, what have we got here? We've got a BF-109 being chased by a J2M and a Ki-44, and they're both being chased by me. As you can see, the Ki-44 does have a bit of a speed advantage because he looped up and has dove down to this point, whereas I've just turned flat. However, over time I will start to catch him in the long run, especially at, again, high altitudes like this. So, BF-109 decides that it's time for him to turn in. You can see the J2M starting to follow, and now the Ki-44 starting to follow as well. I should mention that these two are in a squad together, which does freak me out a little bit more. So we're slowly closing in, as you can see, because they're turning, we're starting to close the distance. It's tough to judge what our speed is. I would say our speed is probably close to equal at the moment. Okay, you can see Ki-61's made it into the battle. 109 down on the deck has killed a Spitfire, but that's not too much of a worry for us. We've got more pressing issues to deal with. You can see there's a Seafire down there. So I'm just making sure it doesn't do something crazy and pitch up for me. Yep, it's not doing anything crazy. Ki-44 goes past. I take a quick shot, but he presents a very small face, and I wasn't really in a good position to shoot. Didn't want to commit because I knew the J2M2 was coming in, but now this is where the game shifts. What you can see is the Ki-44 has just done essentially two 90-degree turns, whereas I've been going very straight the whole time. So I now am very likely to have an energy advantage. So I'm just going to start going up and up and up. You can see the Ki-44 has got more speed than I do, but he is 1.1 kilometers below me. I decide this is the moment. I'm just going to pitch fully up. You can see that I'm starting to get the stall indicators on my wings, and then about now we're going to tip over and we're going to employ landing flaps, I believe, just to get as much angle on. Nope, sorry, only the combat flaps. You can see he pitches up. It's a risky move there, but luckily because he was so slow and we're at such high altitude, he wasn't able to get the guns to converge onto me, so we managed to get the kill. Now It's open season. Dive down on the J2M5. I've got an altitude advantage on both of these guys. Sorry, an energy advantage. See the Key 61. Take the shot, get a hit, but unfortunately for me, the hit does nothing. I should mention this aircraft at the moment is pretty stock, and I have default belts. Again, I have such a speed advantage over these guys that I can just pull up. Unfortunately, my BF-109 has now died. Combat flaps over. I think about killing the Key 61 because he's stalling up to kill me, but I see that he's managed to pull himself out in time, and so we just pull out, go for the highest target. Again, always important to take the highest target. You saw I killed the Key 44 first because he had the best energy state. Then that enables me to attack these guys much easier. J2M5 has to duck underneath. Again, loses more energy. I can just loop back up. We see the Key 61. I'm just going to point it up and see what the Key 61 does. He's seen before. I've seen him kind of pitch up for people in slightly unusual ways, and so I'm just going to see if I can get him into a fairly standard energy trap. I do need to be careful. Again, J2M5 has the higher energy state, so when he pulls around, I just need to make sure that I'm not doing something stupid and throwing away my advantage. Here he goes. He's coming back in. Not entirely sure what his plan is here. I do take a pot shot, get a hit. Again, probably no damage because stock belts. At this point, I'm feeling a little bit annoyed that I haven't killed either of them because I've hit them both with 20s and 30mm cannons. But here we go. We can see the Key 61's going in. Now what I'm doing here is I'm slowly turning to keep him interested. Right? He's still a kilometer away. Even if he shoots, it's very unlikely that he's going to hit me because I can just present a very small profile. At this point, he's basically stalled out. We jump into landing flaps, which really increases the turn rate. Because I'm so slow, the extra drag doesn't actually mean that much for my energy state, and pretty easy kill. He's going too slow that he really can't do anything. Now we turn over to the J2M. My engine is overheating, so I need to cool it. I was getting a little bit concerned that his energy state would then start to equal out to mine because of all the maneuvering I had to do for the Key 61. But now that I have help in the form of that BF-109, I'm not feeling too concerned and we can start to play more aggressively. At this point in the game, there's just 2 people left. There's the Seafire from earlier who's just hanging out below us, and there's this J2M. So he comes around for a head-on pass. Just as he gets lined up, I fire some shells. Unfortunately, no hits, but it does force him to dodge out of the way, at which point I pitch up and then start to loop over. You can see the 109 is quite far below at this point. So what I need to try and do is get this guy down in altitude so that I can start bringing my 109 into the game. Fire some shells, unfortunately miss, but again, all we're doing is just pushing him down and down and down. At this point, our BF-109 is at the same altitude, and so he can start taking pot shots. So I go out, and we can see the 109 now pitches up, gets some nice hits, and as soon as the J2M5 pulls off, I know now that we're in such a winning position, I can play very aggressively. Up till now, you've seen I've played very passive, looking to retain my advantage rather than playing aggressive and trying to get kills. But J2M's decided to bail. Now he's running towards his airfield here, which concerns me a little bit, but ultimately it's a J2M5. In a dive, it's no match for the J2M, for the Ta-152, and you'll see just how quickly I start to gain on him. 147, as soon as I go out of the tab view, just checking who's still alive. 130, 120, I'm going, just hit 700 kilometers an hour, and already 750. This thing dives ridiculously well, and I'm just about to get an overspeed warning in a little bit, but I want to see if I can get shots away. Now, if I had a little bit more ammo, I probably would have done a more extended burst there, just to see if I could get him to maneuver a little bit earlier, but I do only have 12 rounds left. Now, I pull up, and I'm thinking at this point, do I commit or do I let him go back to his airfield? I was thinking I was going to let him go back because I am very afraid of airfield flak, but then I see the 109 commits and gets the J2M to turn. So now the J2M has no speed. Just a cursory look over my shoulder before I dive in to make sure there's no one there. And now I'm recommitting on the dive. It's just changing up the angle slightly to get more directly behind him. That way, no matter which way he goes, we have an equally easy shot. More hits from the 109. We fly in, set him on fire, and I'm not going to waste any more ammunition. I'm just going to pull out. Obviously, he's going to die. And at this point, that cursory glance over my shoulder apparently missed the only remaining enemy, that was the Seafire. So now I'm thinking, this is a problem. I probably just need to take the head on. So I do. Luckily, pilot snipe. And that's everyone gone. In the meantime, the 109's finished off the J2M. I don't mind it. When the airfield is that close, I do get a little bit scared that somehow the engine fire is going to go out and he's going to glide back to base. But there we go. So 3 kills, 1 assist, which probably would have been a kill had the 109 not come in for the secure. And 6,700 research points. As I mentioned, I only had 1 upgrade in the Ta-152 at this point, and you better know the next thing that I got was belts. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you later.